Today's session is primarily going to be taken by Puneet Bhai because rather than wasting much of the time, we'll be talking more on Tally and showing you what Tally can do wonders as far as audit is concerned. But before that, before we start Tally and see how it actually adds more value to our audit, I just want to take 5 minutes of attention. This is purely from one student to all the others out there. I believe all of us understand audit is an opinion. There were a lot of questions yesterday that were asked, whether Tally can do this and Tally can do that. I would always suggest and opinion that audit report that we generate, that we sign, is an opinion that we give. I don't know how many of you actually have had a chance of going through the audit report. Even if we do have, most of the times what we do in the VRs of the deadlines are, we copy the last year's audit report to this year, change the dates, one or two paragraphs we add if there are any changes in the audit report. But what I want you to understand is, without undermining anything, Tally or any other software, what it will give you is the data. What we do with the data, what we derive from the data, is the opinion we state in our audit report. And it is very imperative that we make the most use of the data and ensure that the opinion that we derive from it is going to be what is a valid one. What I'm trying to say here is that tomorrow all of you, I believe, would start getting into practice. Someone would start working in a CA firm. Someone would directly get into practice, and you should realize how one should form an opinion on the basis of the data that is presented to you. For example, an expense of 5 lakh rupees is immaterial for a company like Reliance, but very much important for a business with a turnover of about 5 crore rupees, because that constitutes about, say, 1% of the turnover that they're doing. So, there are a lot of talks that are going around these days, that slowly and gradually AI and blockchain will start taking over a lot of our practice. What I believe or I sense is that accounting for sure can be one thing which can be replaced to a very, very great extent. I cannot say it's really completely replaceable. To a very great extent, still accounting can be replaced by artificial intelligence or blockchain, but audit cannot. Audit cannot be replaced. Another thing is that today, when you're into practice, what we realize is generally we associate audit with the statutory audit that we do under the Companies Act, or the tax audit that we do under the income tax, or at best we might have an exposure on the bank branch audit. What I want to tell you is that audit is not limited to these areas. There are a lot of other areas that we have. We have the internal audit, again, which is a very important area, is gaining a lot of prominence these days. We have revenue audit, we have operational audits, we have management audits, inspection audits. These are some of the areas which are very, very relevant and practiced. Two important areas that are coming up these days, gaining importance with the advent of technology. One being the information systems audit, and other being the forensic audit, or forensic accounting as it is also called. So there are a lot of upcoming areas in audit as we speak. And I mean, once if you start practicing or start developing your skill sets accordingly, you can really thrive. And these are areas which I'm talking about, which are not that competitive as of today. If you look at the practice areas, you'll find a lot of people practicing in Companies Act or tax audits. Everyone generally does it. But these are certain areas which are very upcoming, which require certain very special skill sets which can be developed, and which definitely can help you once you start your practice. So that is all I had to say. Over to you, Puneet Bhai, with Tally. Yes, Vijay Bhai.
Puneet, sorry. Ankit, very well covered and very well said about that eventually it is auditor, that is human being themselves, who will be taking care of this catching of audit and frauds about it. Yesterday somebody asked that is there any way that Tally can help us in detecting a fraud? See, eventually any software you take, whether it is Tally or which, Puneet Bhai will also agree that any software you take, eventually human beings' minds are the sharpest to catch such frauds. And you remember when we used to study our basics of CA course or even BCom in the audit subject, the requisite of a good auditor, that you listen, audit, that is the first thing, and so many things. At the end, the last sentence was very important in that particular book by BK Thar or somebody, that over and above everything, what is needed is common sense and logic.
Right.
So that is the best part. One should catch it. So students, one request to you, or rather, I would say a hint to you: don't simply rely only on computer. That is a means to achieve it, but eventually, ends will be achieved by you yourself. Go beyond the books. Go beyond the things which are apparent on the record. Apply your own mind, individual judgment. That will sharpen your skill also. Whatever software you are using, whether Tally, ERP, SAP, whatever, but eventually it is you who is going to be responsible. You are being paid, not the software. And forget payment. When it comes to responsibility, you will be caught for negligence. So mind you that there is no software on which we freely rely upon catching the fraud. No software are foolproof, like human beings are not foolproof. Okay, over to Punit Bhai.
Punit bhai, please.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Ankit Bhai, Vijay Bhai, Charmi, for once again coming on this session and going to this particular course. Yesterday, we did a bit of the overall perspective of audit, that how the data structure should be, what are the some of the shortcuts that we discussed, that was Alt F12, columnar report, extract, and all those stuff. So that was mostly related to the aspects if we are not using the audit tool. We then moved on to the audit tool and created a plan from this audit and compliance menu. From this, we created a audit we went to audit documentation, created our audit program, and from there on, then we moved to this screen called audit analysis. In audit analysis, we saw the dashboard, how it looks like, and we understood that okay, there are audit aspects into it. There is a verification aspects, so analytical aspects, and the vouching aspect. So we have not got into the analytical and the vouching aspects. So today's session is not going to be anything theoretical, but practically looking at a particular data. Just to give a brief, that I have loaded two companies, okay, for audit analysis. That is my current year company and the previous year company, because this is very important when we start with this. We went into the verification of chart of accounts. We went into the verification of stock items. So there was one query that we received yesterday, that how the stock valuation method is accepted at Tally, in Tally. So that we can look at it at a little later. But this, if you see, this is a particular stock item, the keyboard, and the date on which it is got negative. So this was the first thing. I mean, yesterday we went into this slightly. So keyboard has gone negative on 1/5. Okay. So you can, from here, you can go to that stock item, master. Here, if you see, there is a average cost and average price. Most of us do not realize that if in F12, this is a F12 screen for masters, if this is done as no, then we won't get the behavior screen. Okay. So for getting the behavior screen in F12, we need to put this activate. We need to activate this allow advanced entries in masters. Once we activate that, we get this costing method, that is FIFO, LIFO, last purchase cost, standard cost, or at zero cost. Why at zero cost? Yes, some industries does have an inventory which they would like to have a quantitative control, but their value is zero absolutely in terms of cost. So at zero cost also. So these are the standard costing method available within the system, within the Tally. Once we are out of this audit tool, I would show you how to see the valuation of various methods. But currently I am in audit tool. I will move along where we left out yesterday. So we saw that this chart of accounts, similar chart of inventory is similar to what we have it for chart of accounts as well, that not available in the current year. That means these stocks were there in the previous year, but not in the current year. Similarly, not used item is created in the system, but they have not been used. Why they have not been used? Okay, not used in current year. Yes, in the last year, yes, it was used, but not in the current year, and so on and so forth. The procedure remains the same for verification of stock items also. Now we come to one of the most interesting feature which we normally do it in our profit and loss account, profit and loss account reports and other things in Excel. But this we can do it in Tally also. What is this? Analytical procedures. Analytical procedures means comparing of two items vis-a-vis last year. So what are those two items could be? It could be ledger to a group, it could be group to a group, or whatever it is. To take a simple example, there could be a marketing expense or advertisement expense which you want to track, which you want to keep tracking it with the sales account, or your purchases to the sales account, and see how things work. Okay, so right now what example I have taken is group to group. This can be, as we can see, it could be cost center to a group, it could be ledger to a group, or it could be ledger to a ledger. That means a specific ledger to a specific ledger, last year and current year. So we'll take example of group to group. Okay, base group, sales, and then indirect expenses. So we get a variance report. If you see this particular comparison, sales account with indirect expenses, we get current year and previous year. What is the increase or decrease, if any, it is there. And not only that, if we have compared it with group to group, it goes into the detail of comparing with each individual expenses along with the group. So here we find that auditors have made a huge gain of from 5,000 to 3 lakh rupees. So there is a gain of 5,900 percentile. Okay. Here in F12, we can also see expanded all levels, show ledgers with variance only in amount or in percentage. Okay. So if you want to see absolute amount, what is the difference of absolute amount? If that is the case, then you can see, or you can also give this amount while including or greater than, suppose 15,000. Only those variance will be shown where the amount of difference is more than 15,000. So you then decide that, okay, this is what it is. So as rightly said by Vijay Bhai and Ankit also, that audit is using our own application of mind, of course forming an opinion. But how do you form the opinion? You form the opinion by viewing the data in the analytical form. Now these are the basics of analytics which are available within the system. So many times we are not getting this report of suppose, and if we have compared from one, so there is one more button out here, advanced compare. Okay, so this is again compare, keeping the same comparison but adding one more value to it. So I will add a basic advanced compare also, group name purchases. So under indirect expenses, I get the detail of purchase expenses also. So in the same screen, you are able to compare two expenses or two group of expenses to a sales, and then decide that what are the audit areas that you would like to move in for. Okay. This you can put as a working note also. So suppose you have analyzed it, you can put an Alt W, you can click on Alt W or working note, okay, saying that group sales account, and you can put up a note. Okay, this way we saw basic comparison and advanced comparison as well. Okay, Ankit Bhai yesterday mentioned about manufacturing company using Tally completely, right from the entire process, that is from sales order to receipt of material to purchases to then further going to the manufacturing process. Now this screen of pending documents is nothing but it gives us the brief about what are the pending bills which have not been made or which have not been received. So Tally has got a fantastic analytical procedure that fantastic tracking mechanism in terms of our uh, goods received note to purchases. So this can be tracked out here. Goods have been received, but bills not received. At the same time, this purchase order is something which are open. If they have not been received, we have given to the vendors, but they are yet not been received. You can inform the client and confirm it with them whether these are only which are pending or there are more, or if there are bills which are received. One second. Yeah. So moving forward, yeah. Statutory payments. We saw pending documents. Now the other aspect is of statutory payments. So if we have activated our TDS, okay, or the data is of VAT. Here we see the VAT, but in the current data you will find GST as well. That what are the details that it is there. So we get all the details of statutory payments. When there was delays and what it is. Okay. Coming to the next part of the audit, that is periodic payments and receipts. What is it? Now suppose there are some expenses which are of repetitive nature. What could be examples of those expenses? They are maybe rent expenses, your electricity expenses, your telephone expenses. You can inform the software, that is Tally, that whether this entries are repetitive, and then check that whether all the entries for each month has come or not. Now, first is how to inform Tally about this. Here you can go and click on Control F9, that is master config, and then click on periodic payments and receipt, and then say okay, electricity charges are my repetitive charges. Update. That's it. So once you come back here, you find that electricity charges are also there. So in the previous year, it were 14 vouchers. In the current year, it is just 7 vouchers. So you can then go and decide whether all the electricity charges expenses have been booked or not. Otherwise, this would have taken a count feature of each expenses and check whether they are there incomplete or not. So these are all the help that Tally provides to ensure that data is complete, to ensure that you can ask the management that whether you have booked all the expenses or not. Periodic payment and receipts, it was there. The next is repeated transaction. Now, what do I mean? What is the difference between periodic? Periodic is something which is repeated every month. But repeated transaction means those which same ledger and same amount, they are repeated on a continuous basis during the year. Okay. So while a petty cash expense of 200 rupees can be repeated, so if you want to verify which are the transactions and which are the amounts, you can go inside this and see that in transportation and packaging, the amount of 2500 has been repeated 24 times. You can click on F12 and provide the basic element that what is it. Show repeated using date, party and value, or date, party or value. So different dates but same party and value, and same party, different parties, same date and value. So these are the different combinations that you can use for detecting that whether there are repeated transactions of the same party or not. So I'm just changing one function that show repeat using ignoring the party but same date and value. And if you want to add amount equals to or anything of that sort, or minimum count, that also greater than or equal to count. So on the same date, their transaction of 10,000 are 3. Which are those 3? Different parties, Yes Bank, Godown Rent and Fire Insurance. So this way you can see that on 12th of Jan, 5 lakh transactions are 3 transactions. Okay, 3 different vouchers. So we have ignored the party, but we have taken the date element into it. Same way, you can see for value. Ignore the value, same party and date. Right? So this is how we can come to some conclusion as to how our data is in terms of repeated party transactions. Moreover, let us move to another aspect of relative size factor. When I mean by what does Tally mean by relative size factor is that what is the highest amount that has been expended or rather debited to that particular ledger account and the lowest amount. So you get the difference between the two and then analyze whether your relative size factor, how is your relative size factor. So we talked about electricity expenses, which is of a repetitive nature. We enter those, but at the same time, it cannot happen that electricity expenses, or normally it cannot happen that 10,000 is also entered and 2 lakhs is also entered. So if the ledger value is different in the entire ledger, there is a highest and the lowest relative size factor, the Tally will then give you that particular report. So in the relative size factor, if you see that subscription is 25,000 and 1,000. So there is only one voucher of 25,000 and another voucher of 1,000. So this is the relative size factor of the entries, of the two entries. In F12, you can also click and see whether the relative size factor of opposite behavior can be seen. Okay. So in freight, if you see, then you find that 280 rupees and 3,500 rupees. So it's a opposite RCF. How do we find that RCF? It is divided by highest and the second highest. Okay. We have this formula out here. Okay. Other analysis. Now there are further analysis which are there. Now here I am just showing you what are the things that we can view from the audit tool itself. So we have seen quite a number of things that these are available in Tally in terms of analysis. So here if you see interbank transactions, cash withdrawals, deposit to banks, and other aspects are already there. Okay, so here if you see stale checks and instrument, so which are the checks which have got its validity period which is over? Validity period, you can define it out here. By clicking F6. So tomorrow if RBI decides that validity period is only 60 days, then there would be lot many vouchers which have not been presented to the bank. So these are there in the bank statements, but they have not been presented. So here you can go and check which are my stale checks and instruments. Okay, so they are standing in my bank reconciliation. By the way, just to give a brief, Tally has got a fantastic auto bank reconciliation module. So if time permits, we can look at that as well. But as of now, if you are using the normal reconciliation features from Tally, you can look at this particular feature as well. That what is it? Okay, right. So after analyzing the data, now you have come to sampling. Now we have to vouch the transactions. How do we vouch the transactions? So what are the methods that we do normally apply? So Ankit, practically how do you take up this vouching aspect? So we have seen analytical procedures being adopted and seen. So how do you take up this vouching in your practical working? What are the aspects that you look at and the way in which you go for sampling? Ankit, can you
So
add something?
typically, yes. So typically, generally, Puneet bhai, what we do is we first understand the volume of data that we have to audit, and depending on the volume, first what we need to do is ensure whether we want to go for 100% vouching or we want to have a sample being drawn out. If there is a sample needed to be drawn out, then we choose a sampling technique, how to draw out the sample. And once
Okay.
we draw the sample, then according to the sampling technique, we start getting the vouchers being done. Erstwhile, traditionally, I'm talking about the days when I started the practice, we used to ideally have those vouchers being printed, and there's a big box file that used to be there, where one used to check all the vouchers, check what are the entries being passed through the journal register or a bank payment register, depending on which type of vouchers we are checking. When whether the invoices are attached along with the vouchers, whether the signatures are present for authorization and verification, etc. So that is how we started doing audit. Slowly and gradually, we moved depending on, again, client to client. Certain clients have started adopting technology where they have started maintaining all the data online along with the vouchers. So we start doing their vouching directly from the software. Otherwise, we have a mix and match wherein we started adopting Tally, where we.
You're going to see.
Pardon?
Yeah, sorry. There was a slight disturbance in connectivity.
Okay.
Here we are going to see the sampling type currently with Tally. Okay. So while we click on this verification of vouchers, we see that.
Puneet bhai, we lost you. Puneet bhai?
about 1100. Okay, and out of it, we click Control F9, that is master. By clicking on sampling method, what we get is this details of
Puneet bhai.
various voucher types. Yeah,
I would just wanted to hold because we lost you actually in between.
yeah.
Or I don't know if I was the only one who lost him.
No, we lost him. We lost him.
Yeah. So can you just start again where you started as far as sampling is concerned?
Yeah. So if you see that what we have done is that verification of vouchers, we are there on the bottom part of the dashboard, that is audit tool dashboard. Okay. From here on, we are not going to, after analyzing the entire data as to what are the things that we can look at and making a working note of it and keeping a track of the expenses, the trends and everything. And now we come to the vouching part. But before the vouching part, as you correctly said, we need to sample our data. So for sampling, what we do is to click on Control F9, master config, and there we select this sampling method. Okay. Now, once we come to this sampling method, it has got two choices. One is if we want to move as per the voucher types. As I had yesterday informed that the key to the data is to understand each transactions, how many vouchers are there. So yesterday we had gone in DSS, that is display statements of accounts and statistics, and checked how many vouchers are there in each of those transaction, different voucher types. So there are two methods which are available. One is you go by voucher type method and another is you go by group or ledger method. Okay, so here we can click on this Control V and then say if for sundry creditors, okay, by clicking on spacebar, we want to give a sampling method for sundry creditors. All vouchers, amount range, Benford analysis, I will come to this, even numbered, odd numbered, specific period, specific vouchers. So this is how you can create a sampling. Okay, so first what we will do is that we will see the sales voucher and do a sampling method. Alt S and do a sampling method of suppose amount range. Amount range, we say 10,000 to maximum amount. If we put it blank, then it will take up the maximum amount which is there in the system. Okay. So amount range is selected. So here, once we go inside, enter. So we go to this verification of voucher screen. We see that amount range 97 vouchers are there. And there we go on and check for which month they have been entered. So here for April month, there are 9 vouchers. We also get the details that who has entered this transaction. After clicking on spacebar, we verify, that is Alt F9 audit. Now in auditing, there are various options which are available. Okay, audited, if you find it audited, okay. Copy audit to the audit working paper, yes. If you find this transaction as abnormal, then spacebar and click on Alt F9 once again. You want an external confirmation, clarification from the party. Okay. Something or the other, you put up a note and you provided clarification from. Now this you will get the list of names from the data entry, like in the security control. If you have created multiple team members, from there you can ask, or you can just put any. What is the priority for getting the details? You have now started vouching the transaction. What is the priority, whether it is high, low or medium? You can put it. And what is the list of categories? Now here I would like
Ankit bhai, did we lose him again?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Puneet bhai? Puneet bhai?
I think there's some problem on his side.
Yeah, I think there's some network issues there.
Meanwhile, Ankit bhai, if you can
In relation to ledger scrutiny in connection to debtors and creditors, I can just start taking that up.
yeah, please.
I'll just share my screen just a sec.
Yes, please.
So yeah, we left yesterday here to be continued. So till the time we can have Puneet bhai back with the connectivity issues that we're facing, I was just supposed to share certain uh, aspects of audits as far as debtors, creditors, scrutiny is concerned. Generally what we go on and what we check. So ideally, whenever we try to check a debtor or a creditor, what we do is first thing ideally we should do is we should take out a bill-wise summary along with the receipts that are there during the subsequent audit period. So, for example, if we are say doing an audit somewhere in the month of say June or July, what we can do is also check if whatever outstanding are there as of on the date of March, how many of that outstanding has been received in April, May, and June. That gives us also an answer, whether the timelines as far as the credit periods are being maintained or not. We also seek response for outstanding for more than 90 days. Generally, that is a typical question we ask the auditees. A lot of times, what we observed is whenever we audit, a lot of debtors, we see the current year transactions are being paid or the money is being received regularly, but there are certain amounts which was outstanding as of the opening balance is also not being paid. So this is again, a lot of times if we don't use the bill-wise summary option in Tally, overall we might not realize that the opening balance is one which is outstanding and the subsequent transactions are being paid. So that is another important aspect we need to always check. Another thing is identifying bad debts. If there are any bad debts entries that are already being passed, we should verify whether all the detailed transactions, what are the correspondence that has been done, whether any case has been filed, any steps have been taken for recovery, whether there are any mutual settlements, check for proper provision for discounts. A lot of times we have observed, as I mentioned yesterday also, whenever the entries are being passed, the rebate and discount entry is generally missed by the accountants, which we need to ensure that it is properly passed to reflect the correct amount of debtors. In case of there are sales returns, also check whether the proper reversal of taxation entries are there, impact on the inventory is being properly recorded, whether they are within the limits allowed by the law. Earlier in erstwhile VAT, you could have sales return only up to the period of 6 months. After 6 months, the tax reversals were not allowed, so on and so forth. Opening balance, as I already mentioned, that is another thing that we need to check. Any legal cases that are there against the debtors. So these are some of the aspects we generally check whenever we are doing scrutiny for debtors is concerned. Similar thing is again going to be applicable for creditors as well. Then loans and advances, a very important aspect. Again, I've divided loans and advances between loans and advances given and loans and advances received. For the loans and advances given, we should prepare a chart of loans and advances, giving the opening balances, any additions to loans, repayments, interest thereon, whether the TDS has been deducted properly or not. If the TDS has not been deducted, whether we've received 15G, 15H forms. If the 15G, 15H forms are received, whether they have been filed on time or not. I mean, these are the things which earlier one used to miss out, at least the filings of 15G, 15H forms, which has now become online. So we need to check whether they've been done. If it's a private limited or limited company, we need to ensure the provisions of Companies Act are met. There are a lot of restrictions as far as a company giving a loan is concerned. Whether there are any outstanding loans on directors, whether they are under the umbrella of Companies Act, whether they're permitted, if permitted, then within the limits or not. Also, if there are any securities that are being taken on the loans that are given, whether proper disclosures are made, whether it's bifurcated properly in the balance sheet between secured and unsecured. These are some of the aspects. If identified at the time of audit and noted down, it becomes easier for us to prepare the reports. As far as the loans received are concerned, a similar chart is prepared where we have the opening balances, additions, repayments, etc. In case the repayments are in form of EMIs, be it a term loan, then one needs to check whether the appropriate interest entries are passed. A lot of times we've observed is that the interest entries are not bifurcated, and the entire EMI that is being paid is being adjusted against the loan amount outstanding. So that is one thing we need to verify. Also, a lot of times there are errors being made on the TDS deduction. We've seen that TDS is not applicable if a loan has been taken from a banking company. But a lot of times these car loans and so and so forth are taken from NBFCs, offshoots of banking company either, or directly an NBFC. So at that time, we need to check whether TDS is applicable and it has been deducted properly. If the loans and advances are from directors or shareholders, we should always look at obtaining a certificate stating that it is not from borrowed funds, since it's not allowed to be taken from borrowed funds. Obtain statement of accounts confirmation from banks, obtain interest certificates from banks. So these are some of the finer aspects we need to check when we are having or checking the loans and advances and debtors and creditors. So yeah, that was what I was supposed to cover. We'll just check if Puneet Bhai is back. Puneet Bhai?
Yeah, I'm there. Ankit Bhai, thank you for taking it up.
Yes, sir. Please proceed
Yeah.
further. So you can share your screen.
Yeah. Is it clear? Ankit Bhai, can
Yes, clear.
audit
Yes, clear.
details only? Yeah. So we were there on creating the list of new categories. So this is nothing but grouping of our category queries, audit queries. So as I said, we external confirmation. This is how it is. Now, once we are out of this audit tool, there is a particular place where we can see that where the auditee or the accountant of that auditee can then check what are the queries of the auditors. Okay, at there is a report at display statements. Okay, that the auditee can see what are the clarifications that are required. Same way, I will look at the internal clarifications. Suppose this is what we are auditing, and then we say internal observation. Okay, so this is how you can segregate your queries. Now we are there on vouching part. So we sampled amount range 10,000 maximum to whatever the number of transactions could be, and then we did the vouching part. Now once we were selecting this we did it for sales. Okay. Now suppose for petty cash, that is for payment vouchers, we select alt as sampling config. From here also we can provide the sampling. Suppose we select Banford analysis. Now what is this Banford analysis? There's a law called Banford's law which says that the frequency of the first digit in any data set would be of a specific numbers, or to tell you in a very simplified manner, that any vouchers which starts from 1 as the digit would be of a if the data has to be correct, would be of a fixed percentage or around that fixed percentage. Okay, and this has been covered or verified by lot of people that yes, Banford's law is correct. And in the recent cases where we saw that the sampling or the data which was coming out from China's COVID analysis, there also the data was put up against a Banford analysis as well, that what is the total number of people which are coming in the age group and what how is it working. So there also there the statisticians found that Banford analysis work, and in most of the fraud detection techniques this Banford analysis is of useful. To put it in a simplified way, that it has a specific the number of vouchers in an entire data set has a specific correlation to the first number it is started. So here we can put Banford analysis and then say if what is the variance that we wanted, positive variance or a negative variance. So those which are following the law as per the law. So suppose the one number has to come this much number of times, and in actual it has come little lesser or little more. So that is a if it is there with the same trend, so that is a positive variance. Okay. So what we would like to learn about it. So payment vouchers, we put it as a Banford analysis, and out of 471, Tally has given that 171 vouchers can be sampled. If we go into this 171 vouchers, then we find that there are vouchers with highest positive variance that we get it, and then again the auditing, that is spacebar and say Alt F9 or click on this audit. So on and so forth. So it has given all the vouchers where there were highest positive variance. Okay. Escape. Right. There are few more sampling methods available, even numbered vouchers, odd numbered vouchers, specific period that I want from 1/6 to 1/10. Okay, so debit notes, out of the 5 vouchers, only 2 vouchers are there from this period, and there you can put this note. Okay. We can also put manual sampling. You can go inside this and provide that for the month of March, I want to audit all the vouchers. Okay. So this would then include it in the sampling. Okay. Then, of course, after reviewing it, so on and so forth. So what we will get is that although journal was there with Benford analysis, they have also been manually sampled. So this is how the dashboard would show. Okay. And if you want to see the description in F12, you get this description along with the type of vouchers.
Puneet bhai,
Yes.
someone has asked to repeat Benford analysis again. So if you can just brief again as to how
Okay.
Benford analysis is working.
Okay. Yesterday, one of our participants had asked that can Tally be helpful in fraud detection? Okay, can we detect fraud from this? Now, to detect the fraud, as you and Vijay had rightly said, you need to form an opinion or you need to have common sense and observation powers to move forward. But along with that, the data should also provide you some support. So, in terms of Tally gives us various method or tools for sampling the transaction. So what are those tools? So we did odd numbered, even numbered, and amongst that, one of the scientific method which is available is called Benford's analysis. Benford's analysis is based on a Benford's law, which states that for a particular voucher with a specific digit starting with should have that much proportion. So suppose I say that in any data set, if there are 100 vouchers, then the analysis gives us, the law gives us that the voucher starting with 1 should come at around specific number of times. Okay. So the law has got various methods. So it is inbuilt in Tally. We need not move into how that it is there. What Tally gives is that whether you want to have a positive variance, whether, so suppose the Benford's law says that one number, it is a hypothetical example, one number should come 20 times. Okay. One, by meaning one number is that vouchers amount starting with 1. It could be 10, it could be 100, it could be 1,215, whatever it is. Okay. So that should come 20 or 30 number of times. That is what the Benford's law states. In the data, when it is compared with the data, then you can, Tally gives us that how many times this one voucher starting with having a amount of 1 that is there. So basis that it is giving you the number of vouchers which you will have to go and then vouch it. Okay. So we did it for petty cash. We will do it for one more voucher type, that is purchase. So we click on spacebar and say Alt S sampling config. We say Benford's analysis. By having a Benford analysis, earlier we said positive correlation variance. Now, variance. Now we will say negative variance. Both can be used. It all depends on what the statisticians want. So out of 97, only 111 vouchers are there, which is not following the law. And so on and so forth. Sorry. Here also you can see there is one button called Benford's detail, how it formed out. Alt B. So digit 1 has to come total 42 times. The frequency is expected is 30. It is coming 42 times. Expected is 30, and actual it is coming for 43% of the actual. So there is a difference. Okay. So this is how Tally gives a basic report. So 1 to 9. If the law is not being followed, Tally would provide you this particular Benford's law difference report. Is it clear, Ankit bhai, or shall we take one or two more examples on this? Hello, Ankit bhai.
Punit bhai? Punit bhai?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we should take one or two examples for this.
Okay. So the voucher starting with 2 is not following what it is. Negative variance is there. Voucher with highest negative variation is there. That's why we took it. Okay. The rest was there details. We'll take one more example. So when I said Benford analysis for receipt vouchers, so out of 131, 21 vouchers were selected as a sample. And when I go to the sampling listing, so all the 5-digit numbers are not following what the Benford's loss is. So you can see that Benford's details for 5, it is 21 vouchers are there. Expected was only 8% or 7.92%. Okay, so this is how you get the positive variance is there, and because of that it has shown as the difference. In F12 you can see no, all the other things we have already covered. Yeah. Further to this, we can also, again, we have already discussed that manual sampling can be done. So Benford's details is a scientific method which is available for us to ensure that whatever audit that we are doing is according to the generic science, that is statisticians of law, that you should have a scientific method while you are doing your vouching. Okay. So
I think that is enough, Punit bhai. And also, I just have to add that Benford analysis is an approved method of sampling as far as the guidelines that has been issued by the audit standards. So we can move to the next section, Punit bhai.
okay. So the next session that we want to work is this. If you are seeing the related party transaction, MSME transactions, and salary and wage payments. Okay, I'll take a simpler example of salary and wage payment. So if you have activated Tally payroll, then you get this information: head count, earnings, deductions, net salary. Now for this, Tally's payroll needs to be get activated, so you can have a total number of people working in the organization, newly joined, when they had resigned, or closing balance. Okay. Here, again in F12, you can have their deductions break up. Let me tell you, dear participants, the Tally payroll is a simple and effective tool for getting your ESIC, PF, and profession tax working and income tax working also. So if you are using Tally's payroll, you can get this particular report directly. Okay. So this is what the salaries and wages payment could cover. Now, a lot of time there are questions coming that we want to mark our related party transactions together because of our company law requirement and income tax as well as transfer pricing requirements. So how do you mark the related party transactions? So while we are here, you can go to master config, control F9 and select this option related parties. Okay, now if you want to check update that, okay, who is my related party? A1 supplier is related party, Ashok Financer, Azura Systems, okay, or B Ramesh Loan. All of these are related parties. You can click on spacebar and then click button called update. Is related party? Yes. And if all of them are having a same relationship, by marking this as related party transaction, what has happened is that once you come back to this report, you find no transactions in this. One second. Yeah, the dashboard is updated. The screen was not getting updated. So you find that there are 13 transactions of the related parties, and here are the details related to directors, related to key employees, and all those things. Okay, and after that, you can go inside this transactions from A1 supplier. Payment. So the idea is that you will the total transaction listing of all the related parties at one go. Now, uh, from last year and in fact before last year also, the government is focusing mostly on the MSME transactions, which are the companies which are MSME in our data. So that we need to sort out, that we need to provide. So you can click on this again button called Control F9 Master Config, and from there go to this My Details, and here you can set who are my MSME vendors or customers. Tally has added this functionality of default credit period very recently. Whether they are micro, medium or small. If they have common registration number, then you can provide it, but they won't have that. So I'm just putting that details. You can select each one and then put the registration details. So on and so forth. Okay. What will happen with this is that by coming to this dashboard once again, you will get all the MSME transactions together. There are 33 transactions of MSME which you need to vouch for. Okay. Out of this, purchase was manually sampled already. Eurosoft. Only one journal transaction was manually sampled. The rest, none of them have been sampled. So you can select and then click on audit. Or if you have audited it, or you can put it for sampling. The other person, the other team member can come and sample it. Vouch it. One second. Yeah. So this is about MSME transactions. Okay. Ankit bhai. So we
Yes,
have
Puneet bhai.
covered almost all the parts. We have covered almost all the parts. We've done this. Okay, transactions on holidays. We did this stale checks. Transactions on holidays. If you want to verify, then you can go and see that which are the transactions. You can configure your holiday also. So it is not necessary that what Tally gives, that is the holiday. If you are going to Saturday and Friday is holiday, you can select that Friday is also a holiday, and if there are any special holidays, that also you can provide.
Puneet bhai, on a lighter note, can we provide the entire April month as a holiday and check?
April and May month, yes.
Yes.
To go, you'll have to give the entire dates.
Entire days. Because I think it might not be relevant for the period of 1920, but when we'll be auditing 2021, at that time that will be a very important period to check the authenticity of the transaction entries, if at all there are any being passed on those 2 months.
Yes. So this was all about holiday configuration. Then there is highest and lowest value transaction. It gives about this details that in a particular ledger you can which is the highest voucher and the lowest voucher, and what is the difference range, okay, in terms of percentile and the amount. So that is again an analytical tool available for us to decide that which transactions or which parties is what we need to audit. Just like pending order processing details, you can have this pending advances also. Okay, pending advances, that is your loans and advances, they have still not cleared, so you can have this list also available in Tally. You have covered stale checks. Coming to external confirmation. Now, this external confirmation tool is there for long. I mean, right from 8 to 10 years, Tally has provided this external confirmation, and to any person or any auditors that we have shown, they have we have shown they have started using it. It is one of the beautiful tools available for auditors, and in no time you can generate the confirmation. I will take you to the entire process of external confirmation now. Okay. So after the vouching has happened, after the sampling and vouching has happened, now before closing on the financial statements, what your team wants is the confirmation from each and every party. Okay. So here Tally gives the list of all the sundry creditors and sundry debtors. Now you would ask, I want to do it for other groups as well. You can click on this button called F4 group and then say, I want for loans assets. So all the details, all the ledger accounts list will be available. Out of this, if you want only for specific person, then you can click on those specific person. Suppose I want it for this 2 person only. Ashok Financer, Avanti Constructions and Azura Systems. Okay, I will just mark for confirm. Right. So we were on this report only where we were wanting to confirm that we need to send the confirmation to these 4 parties. We will click on a right hand side button that is mark for confirmation, F6. Okay. Once this has been marked for confirmation, then we come out of this audit tool. This is Gateway of Tally, and we go to a report, display statements of accounts, audit and compliance info. We go to this, that is the statutory audit info. We find that there are 4, it is a dashboard which is similar to our audit tool dashboard, but there are 4 things which are available. Okay. One of them is external confirmation. So here we find Ashok Financers, Avanti Construction, Azura and BBMP. These 4 ledger names. Here we click on the individual ledgers and click on mark request sent. Okay. Before marking the request, what we can do is, all these 4 are selected. We can click on this print button. By clicking on print button, you come to this print confirmation of letters. Here, print confirmation letter, yes, along with statement of accounts. That means, do you want to print the ledger accounts as well? You can give the firm name. What Tally does is that it prints the letter like this: Ashok Financer, our auditor so and so. An envelope is enclosed for your reply. The balance is 4 lakhs rupees. Okay. Along with this, if you see page 1 of 8, so there is a next page to it. If you print, the next page is this, the ledger account, that is that of Ashok Financiers for the entire year. Same way, the second letter, Alt Z, to Avanti Construction, our balance receivable from us is 18,000, and so on and so forth. The balance which is there. Okay. There was a transaction of 18,520 and then 520 opening balance credit was there. The final balance is 18,000. Page 5, Azura system, so on and so forth. Okay. So here, once you have printed the ledger statement and the confirmation letter, you can click on mark request sent. Do you want to take the print or export? here again, if you want to say yes, you can go and all the 4 will be printed. This we have already done. Okay. Once we have sent them individually, what you can do is you can send the email also by clicking on this print. Okay. You can send them the mail also. Okay, you have to configure your Gmail account, and then you can send it as a mail also. But currently that is available only for individuals. You cannot send the mass this thing. You need to check again on this. But individual mailings you can do it. Otherwise you can print it and then print the confirmation of both of them and put it in envelope and then send it to the debtor or creditor or loan account. Once these confirmations are sent, you come back to your audit menu, other analysis, external confirmation. Suppose Ashok Financer's request has been sent by speed post. That noting which we did it at the other menu is also available out here. You can click out here and say mark for confirm. If there is a difference, okay, you can click spacebar and then say F6. So if there is a difference with Avanti construction, sorry. So they say that the balance is 15,000. Okay. 15,000 credit according to them. You may put the remark. What Tally does is that it provides you the entire snapshot of your balance confirmation. So it keeps record of to whom you have sent, it keeps record of how you have sent, and once you receive the confirmation, it keeps tracks of what was the balance which was confirmed by the opposite party. So this gives as an auditor a complete overview or a helicopter view that's to how many external confirmations that we have sent and a complete dashboard to that. Right? Okay. Now, I think we are completing the major part of the audit tool, Ankit. There are a few things that I would like to show it in terms of what do we do. Yesterday we talked about debtors creditors report. So in brief, you did take it up the receivable part. Okay, what are the things which is there? But from the Tally perspective, what I can definitely share, display statements of accounts, outstanding. Suppose we go for group, sundry debtors. So here we get the list of all the parties, Alt F1 along with their group. Okay, here we get it. Here we have got 3 quick buttons. Okay, the first is age wise. Aging by bill date or due date. So here, yesterday what Vijay was saying, that do we get 30, 60, 90 and 180 days and above report? Yes, we do get. Okay. So here we get that each party is giving us the breakup. So many times to give it require this report. This is a normal report which I'm sure what I am really in love with is this report. There is one report called bill wise that just shows the bill wise detail, but this particular report is a fantastic report that is called bill party wise. Okay, it gives gives a subtotal against each party as to how much is pending, and then you can click on age wise. So this report, if you see that each party, by when they are going to pay, or rather till from when they are outstanding, you get this report party wise, bill wise detail. I am sure some of you might have explored, but a lot of companies are not knowing this particular report, bill party wise, and then break it up into aging analysis. Here I would also like to showcase one thing, is this column called on account. Here you would, if the bill wise adjustments are not made and they have just been accounted in the party, and there is no bill reference which has been configured according in the transaction, you will find it in this list. Friends, as an auditor, we should first go and check whether any transactions are there on account, because that would give us some clue whether the settlement is or not. And if there are huge transactions in on account, your entire 30, 60, 90 days report will go for a toss. So this is the column that you should look at on account, which you get it only when you are doing it in a aging analysis bucket. Okay. Now, there's one more question. How do I track that which party has paid in how many days? Okay. And at that time, I have told that we will cover it in the last session or maybe tomorrow's session, that to get the report. Okay. There is one report called ratio analysis. This is a wonderful report. Apart from the analytical procedures that we saw just a few minutes back in audit and analysis tool, this wonderful report gives us the snapshot of what is the working capital and current ratio of the entire firm. Okay, here we have a report called receivable turnover in days, that is also termed as payment performance of the debtors. Here, when I enter and see, it shows that using the actual, there are two columns. Using the receivable formula, that is your closing balance divided by the sales which is happened during the year. Based on that, it gives you the receivable formula, or using the bill actual clearance date. If you see, here you get it that in how many days they have cleared the bills. Okay, 10th April, the bill was raised, 31st May, the payment was made. So here you get the list of the entire report, payment cycle of the customers or vendors, whatever. Here you can select maybe vendors also, how you are paying it to the vendors. No, yeah. So you can get for vendors as well, that how you are paying to the vendors using the bill actual clearance date or whatever it is.
Bhai,
Yeah.
there is a request or a question rather, I would say, how to do aging analysis if data is not continuous?
If the data is not
Continuous.
continuous.
So in the mean, what he means is basically, if you don't have the bifurcation in terms of the outstanding opening balance, then whether still the bill wise and the aging analysis would be shown.
So for aging analysis, the system needs a reference point. The reference point, you would agree, Ankit, that transaction cannot be a reference point saying that any transaction is adjusted against any transaction. We need to have a reference point other than the transaction itself. So if the data is not continuous, what can be done is that you can go in accounts info, ledger, select a party. Suppose this is the party, and here the opening balance is, of course, there are two things that we need to ensure, that maintain balance bill by bill is made. Apart from that, the opening balance is kept. And once you go in this field, you will also find that it gives you the list of bills. So here you can bifurcate that on 28 Feb 10, my balance was 10,000 for a particular bill. On 15th March, The balance was 9680. The bill was 9680. So basis this particular two invoice details, Tally will then calculate the aging analysis. Okay.
Yes, Puneet bhai.
So if you have to go, you'll have to go in the opening balance and provide the billing details of previous years. Okay.
Absolutely,
So
I
we
agree,
were
Puneet
on
bhai, that
this.
basically it follows the concept of garbage in, garbage out, which we learned when we first learned computers.
Yes. Right. So here, if you see, there is one ratio analysis. Now, analytical procedures, what we saw in the audit tool was comparing us with the previous year. Now, you want to know that what is the trend for the current year? In which month am I making more profit, more sales, more expenses? How do I come to know at one go? Okay. So there is one button called Alt N, auto column. Some of you might be knowing about it, but this is a magic button which I feel which most of us should know, all of us should know, is this: selecting any report, whether it is trial balance report, whether it is profit and loss account report, or which is on hand is a ratio analysis report. We can go and click on this monthly report. Okay. Now you see what do we get in each of this month. What was my working capital? What was my working capital turnover ratio, inventory turnover ratio? So then I can decide that what is the sample that I have to select, in which period I have to go. So it gives you the month by month breakup. Okay. If you see net profit or gross profit in 1 month, that is in the month of June, it is 20%, and in the month of September, it is 16, and in the month of August it is minus 14 or 13.96%. You can go in this and just see what is the August month profitability, where is the problem. Okay, the purchases were high or the sales were not recorded or what it is. Okay, so here, or there is some, if there is a profit ratio, there is some huge spike in expenses. So apart from the analytical tools that we discussed, I think we all as an auditor should know this button called Alt N. Okay. Now I will give you one more use of this button. In fact, two. Profit and loss account. This is a normal profit and loss account report. We click on this button Alt N, and we see. We can see it quarterly also. We can see it weekly also. Okay. We see it monthly. So Ankit, if you see, you can see the trend of expenses, that in which month I am entering more expenses, or the expenses have reduced in the month of September. Why? Why it is there in the month of more in the month of April? Okay. So this one report we all should know. So this is one use. The another use case scenario of Alt N button is that suppose you are analyzing the debtors. Okay, this is not only from audit perspective but MIS perspective as well. Okay, you want to know in which month which debtor is purchasing, okay, and in which month they are not purchasing at all. So you want to give the report to the auditee that look, your debtors are not purchasing in this month. You can then go and check with them, why are they not purchasing with you. Okay, or as an audit process also you can carry out. So how do you do that? You go to trial bills, you go to current assets, sundry debtors. Okay, in F12 there is a button show transactions and closing balance as no. So this is the list of transactions which has happened in the entire year. Again, after coming out here, you can click on button called Alt N, auto column, and then check. So if you see, global traders has purchased in the month of April, but not after that, and directly in the month of November. You can ask your auditee that why is this variation, and at the same time it gives you a tool for analyzing debtors, that how are they making or how are they doing in terms of sales and making the corresponding payments. Just a word of caution, this is a total debit and a total credit. I am assuming that in a debtor all the debits are belonging to sales only. That is a slight assumption that I am making, but even if that assumption is done, it gives you a fantastic report. Okay, so tomorrow or today, if you are analyzing any data, do view it from the audit perspective that we discussed, as well as from this button Alt N. So Ankit, can we have some questions out here, or you want me to cover some more things?
I think we can start taking questions, Puneet bhai. It's already 12:45.
Yeah.
There was one small aspect which I felt we could have covered, is about various add-ons that are available.
Okay.
Do you think we can do it quickly in 5 minutes before we go to Q&A?
Okay. So Tally as a software is available to all the customers, and I mean to everybody. But there is a small add-ons which are available for the users, and I would like all of you to explore this button called Tally Shop. Now, these are nothing but small automation bots that various partners of Tally has developed over a period of time, and that they are providing it at a dirt cheap rate, I would call it, because they are this thing. So they have categorized this shop into various updates. One particular report that I would like all of you to look at is this. Under the security button, okay, there are multiple this thing, but audit trail, user-wise activity tracking. Friends, what you can do is that you can use this Tally Shop TCP or this customization or add-on for about 2 or 3 days, and then decide on purchasing. Okay, so there are multiple small automation tools which are available, and depending on the user requirements, suppose somebody wants authorization, somebody wants trail, user-wise activity tracking and logging, somebody wants only the ledger history, or what it is there. There are multiple options available in this Tally Shop, and you can explore any of them. Only a word of caution that this customizations or add-ons come at a very dirt cheap rate. That is, some for single user it is somewhere around 270 plus GST, and for multi-user it is 850. It does not have a bifurcation whether you are an auditor or a multi-user. Okay. The only word of caution is that there is very minimal support which is available. Of course, the documentation is available. You can go through the documentation with every add-ons that you purchase. There is a small documentation which you can download, and then implement it at your own end. So that is the only word of caution, that there is no support available, or a minimal support, maybe through email or something is available. And they are not developed by Tally per se, but the different partners of Tally, they have developed. So you can see there are some list of partners which has been provided out here. So this was all about Tally Shop and a small automation. So there we can see. Okay.
Puneet, there is one question.
Yeah.
Can we classify related parties in Tally Ledger Setup?
We did that, no? We did that.
No, we did it. We did it through the audit and compliance module.
Yeah.
What he's asking is basically, at the time we create the ledgers, is there any option there to classify it under related parties.
I think yes, it is there. Accounts info, ledgers, enter. Suppose this is the party. In F12, no, Ankit, earlier it was there as an option that you could classify it. Now it is available only through audit module only.
Fair enough.
It is stored in the master only, what the screen we have shown, but it is not available directly for the user to go and
Viewing.
classify.
Okay, okay. There is a very important question, Puneet bhai. Is there any way to lock the data once we have done the audit, so client cannot, pass entries backdated for which audit was done?
Yeah. So you go to the security control and Alt F3 and go to the security control. So there are three options: users and passwords, types of security, and password policy. You go to this types of security. So I'll just go to the menu of all the three. So users and passwords are nothing but the level at which the types of security it is, and you provide the name and the password for the access for that. But these users and passwords are depend on this level types of security, and what we want is to lock the data. So you can go to a particular level, that is accounts, and then say that cutoff date for backdated vouchers. So which is the cutoff date? So if you have completed the audit of the earlier year, you can just provide 31st March. Okay, and then disallow full access of backdated vouchers. So with this, what will happen is that any entries before 31st March, Tally will not allow any entry to create or alter. So here you can go and update the cutoff date voucher. So, but again, a word of caution. That super user, if you are as an auditor, but the admin user in my company which I have created, Alt F3, alter, this is the super user, name of the administrator. He can do anything and everything. So even if you have put the cutoff date, it won't impact the super user. So my suggestion is do not allow super user to anybody and everybody, and give the users according to the rights that they have, and you can control according to the voucher types, or you can control the reports as well. So that is how you can do it. Yes, Ankit.
There are a couple of questions on, one is, can we have TDS reconciliation derived directly from Tally?
Yes, TDS reconciliation, if you have activated TDS module, then we have got a report that what are the expenses on which TDS has not been deducted, what are the expenses on which TDS at a differential rate has been deducted, and all those things. So there is a separate chapter altogether. So we can take it at some other time, Ankit. But
Yeah, I can understand. So basically, to answer that question,
TDS reconciliation entire. But for that, there are two critical things. One, you need to activate the TDS module. And secondly, you need to pass the entries as per the Tally's TDS functioning. Tally can generate your FVU file directly from the system. But for that, you need to enter the data in the method what Tally is suggesting. Believe me, it can give you lower deduction, lower deduction certificates, enter details. It can give you, suppose you have deducted instead of 2% or 10%, 20% because PAN number is not available. So all those things Tally can give you, provided you are entering the transaction what as per Tally is. So to all the auditors and to all the learners, what I will recommend is this. Ankit, can you see my screen?
yes, we can see your screen. Your email is screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I will recommend is to go to this website, help.tallysolutions.com, and the way in which they have designed this help menu is fantastic. Ankit, I have informed lot many chartered accountants and lot many users.
You can speak.
Yeah, so this is a help menu which Tally has provided, and in this you can type any topic. I mean, this search through latest releases there, no? Just type
Yeah.
TDS out there, enter. So you will find the list of entire information that is there on TDS, and you can select any of these topics like enable TDS, how to enable TDS, and it will take you screen by screen. So you can see that for enabling the TDS, you have to go to first F11, then see what are the configuration, and at each of these points, so once you go down a little bit, you need to enter the stand number, all these details. Okay, what are these things? And there are small note also which is there in between. So in this release, they have enabled a feature for Ladakh state. Okay, so person responsible also. So they are working in a very, very good manner in terms of helping the customers to implement any of the module, not only TDS, but whether it is GST, whether it is order processing. My team has also learned from this help.tallysolutions module only. So I would recommend anybody and everybody to go to this particular module, help.tallysolutions.com, and then check whatever query that we may have. For GST, they have put up some fantastic FAQs also, which they at call centers are receiving every now and then basis that they can enter this thing. Configure their accounts as well. Okay.
So I would just add, Puneet bhai here, if everyone can see the screen, in the TDS surcharge details, what we are seeing is the applicable date column. Now here, what I have learned is while we were implementing a different ERP for one of our clients, we realized that with our tax structure particularly, we have a lot of changes in rates, be it GST, be it even income tax. A wonderful feature which Tally has is it keeps the previous rate intact for the period, and you can have a rate effective from the particular period, which helps that it ensures the previous month's data or the previous period data does not get impacted by the change of rates for the current period. Apart from that, Puneet bhai, there is one request to say something on depreciation in Tally, whether there is any features for depreciation available in Tally.
So in the audit menu, you can see that purchase of fixed asset is there. I will Ankit, if you could stop your screen sharing.
I will do that.
Fixed asset analysis report is there. Okay, it gives us the details of our additions and adjustments. Although Tally does not calculate any depreciation as per company law or as per income tax, but what it can give you a report, a simple report, that whether the less than 180 days and more than 180 days have been followed or not. Yeah, so this is a simple report that Tally gives, and basis that you can provide. As far as depreciation is concerned, we need to post our journal voucher only. What I will refer here once again, that Tally shop add-on, what we were looking at audit trail, then there is an add-on for attaching the documents to the voucher itself. So when you are working for the depreciation or such complex working, you can attach, there is an add-on for attaching Word, Excel, or maybe PowerPoint, or any JPG file as well. So your Excel working can be attached to the depreciation entry. That is also a possibility that users might want to use it. So there is an add-on for that as well. There are customization available for calculating depreciations as per Companies Act and as per income tax. But those are industry specific, may be useful to some, may not be useful to some. So not like to discuss much on a direct platform. Yes, Ankit.
For depreciation, interest option can be enabled for each assets, is what someone has asked.
Interest and depreciation. Interest is a separate functionality which is available, and we can activate it for our loan accounts and for maybe the basic calculation of fixed deposit. But how do we correlate it with the fixed asset interest?
I will tell you, sir. हम लोग जुगाड़ वाले हैं ना, तो basically what I believe what he's trying to mention is we can use the interest functionality and calculate on the base of the rate of depreciation in those ledgers, and we can arrive at a figure of depreciation, is what I think he is saying.
No. They both are different things, because interest is a different element which is based on the number of days and the debit and credit transactions in that particular ledger. And depreciation is whether 180 days से कम हुआ है कि ज़्यादा हुआ है. There are only two components to it. So if there are, आप purchase कभी भी करो, जुलाई में करोगे, जून में करोगे, you can get depreciation for the entire 365 days, right?
No, generally, Puneet bhai, as far as particularly in case of private limited companies, the entries of depreciation in the books of accounts are going to be as per the Companies Act, which is as per the number of days and not as per the tax audit, right? Where taxation, where you will have to go by the rules that you are mentioning.
Right. Okay.
So possibly, I mean, he's just put in or something. I think as far as the questions are concerned, we more or less discussed all of them. There are a couple of questions which are very specific to. One is, okay, one thing we did not cover was the stock part, Puneet bhai, that we had agreed to cover last time.
Yeah. So there were some queries in terms of stock valuation, and which I would like to showcase that stock valuation. Okay, now this is a stock valuation which is as per the configuration which is there in the masters of that particular ledger. So CD-ROM, we see average cost. Okay, now with this valuation only, with this quantitative information, you want to see what would be my stock value if I had followed a FIFO method without changing the master. So here again, I will go to the magic button called Alt-N, and here I will select the option called stock valuation methods. Oh my, what is my default is the one which I have already configured. For an item, if it was FIFO, then this. If it was LIFO perpetual, then this. I think for CD-ROM 100, everything is same only. Let's see where the difference is. Yep. Assembly line. P4 assembled machine. Okay. By default you get the valuation of 2,08,000, but had it been a FIFO valuation method, it was 1,95,000. The LIFO would have made it to 3,25,000, and so on and so forth. Okay, standard price, average standard price, and monthly average cost, last sale price. So you can see that with multiple valuation you can get it. Now, what is this? How can I reflect it in my profit and loss account? In profit and loss account also, Alt-N, stock valuation method. So you can see that how your stock value is there when the FIFO is there. Okay. 63 lakhs 40,000 for the default, FIFO 6324, LIFO perpetual 5937, and so on and so forth. So impacting my profit. So one more thing that Ankit and myself were discussing was that suppose you want to put your own stock value. You don't want to put what Tally is providing. Then what? So for that, what we suggest is that in F11, we ensure that in there we show it as node. Okay. Now there is no value which is there. Okay. So for value, I will come to this particular accounts info, ledgers, alter, stock on hand. I will give what was my value as on starting of the year. Yeah. So opening stock value 15 lakhs and closing stock 25 lakhs. Now, mind you, it does not correlate with the each item wise details that you have to keep it separately. So this is how you can put it. Yeah. Ankit, you'd like to add something on this?
Sorry, Punit, I was just answering someone who had just posted a query. No, this is fair enough, Punit bhai. I think we've covered most of the aspects as far as audits and certain other add-ons are concerned.